You are now live. Welcome to Late Night with JapJap. And some cool jazz. um... I think it's episode 2. I'll listen to this till someone jumps on.
In still water, when there is no pebble tossed. You know, plant seeds that grow in the gardens, and then you're nourished the rest of your life. You know how many people are like, just always gonna be like, hey, I like that old Benjamin. My kid plays piano now. Thanks for that piano. And then Paraplegic Bear from his little wheelchair is like, it might be nice. You could have had that precious money. But they don't understand how to grow a garden. You know what I'm saying? We've done a few renovations for rich Chinese. They all have pianos in the living room instead of TVs. Right. Guys, they get it. Same with the the guys above the Jews. You know, the Jews are surrounded by flat screens and pornos. If they're not jerking off or yelling at something, they're looking at an iPad, wondering the price of a nonsense stock that they created. By the way, you know what a stock is? To put someone in the stocks? Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway, but the dudes above those guys, they don't have cell phones, they don't do televisions, they communicate via hydraulic tubes, like literally.
Hello. How you doing, brother man?
They,
Dan Barone. Welcome. Do you have any fun adventures to share? Just kind of waiting for people to file on in. And I've decided I'm officially going to start doing late nights with JapJap from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. So this is episode 2. Yesterday I had some technical issues about about an hour in. What were you reading, man? Let me know. Sweet. So then, I'm just starting now, so it'll be 11 to 1 your time. Sweet. Yeah, jump on. Let me know.
How's it going, brother?
Dude, I just realized as you were loading in, this is the first stream I've done where I'm not drunk. I just got a loading screen on you right now. Poor connection, my friend. That is unfortunate.
they don't ever watch television. Whether they're the Italian nobility, upper, high level families or whatever, or the Swiss Bavarians, or the 12 Jesuits and the seed company, all those people. They don't. Because I know people that work for some of these people, and they're like, there's no TVs, no cell phones. They communicate via kind of like what we do with the post office. The irony is the Bears are operating at a more elite class than George Soros. Oh, how dare you? Dude, it's like to send handwritten letters through the mail is more elite than living in a 50,000 square foot palatial estate and just sending emails to everybody. Yeah, the trivium, they have classical educations, they learn about rhetoric, dialectic, grammar, the natural scientific method, all that stuff. Like a bang tube at long distance. Yeah, that's how they communicate, guys. They communicate in physical. Okay, the best way to understand it, and I know this for a fact.
First Aid Bear. Welcome, brother.
Watch
and Bear Kids. Welcome, both of y'all. Any fun adventures? that you've had of late that you would like to discuss. And also, welcome to episode 2 of Late Night with JapJap. Coincidentally, the first stream I've ever done sober. Haven't drank, or I'm not drunk today. Yay! Trainer Bear, welcome, welcome to episode 2 of Late Night with JapJap. Oh, dude, I'm half Japanese. Of course it is. Nice. I think, Trainer Bear, you will be glad to hear that, no worries, Dan, I figured it was something. This is the first night, or first stream I've done, not drunk. So this is a unique experience for me. But, Dan, if, like, give your phone some time to charge up, brother, because, like, I want to hear what you've been reading about, and I don't want you to start and, like, leave us on, like, a cliffhanger because your phone dies again. So make sure you've got enough battery, son. Boys, now we're opposite equals. If most of your streams are sober and you've done one drunk, now most of my dreams were, or most of my streams are drunk, and now I'm one sober. Yeah, pot helps clarify my mind a lot. It's kind of weird. Yeah, trainers, seeing you drunk would probably be pretty hilarious. You high on 50%? Do you speak of the THC content? Because that is pretty substantial, to say the least. And by pretty substantial, I mean like 2 years ago, the highest like top shelf was nice. Highest top shelf that I'm aware of like 2 years ago was like 33%. Nice. Tracking, tracking. Well, while we're waiting for Dan's phone to charge, does anyone want to jump on? Bum, bum, bueno. Bum, bum, bueno, bum, bum. Ooh, I hadn't even thought about that. What is the gravy of it today? Put me on the spot here, trainer. What have I been researching today? Hmm. Not any complete thoughts quite yet on those. Um, Maybe this tab? Nope. All right, your phone better be charged. Nice, First Aid Bear. And welcome back, Dan.
How's it going?
Tell us what you have been reading about, my friend.
Well, I've been going through some old literature that my grandfather passed down to me. He passed away when I was about 18 or so, and I have a lot of these old books. Most of them are like Christian in nature, and I have this one in particular, which is really, really profound. Um, it's a compilation. It's published by, let me see. I'm just going to show it to you first. Samuel Follows. It was published in 1883.
Nice.
It's a big old book. It's called
Dope.
The Home
Live and Love and Bear, welcome, welcome.
The Home Beyond Views of Heaven.
Dude, I love that cover.
It's like engraved.
The whole binding job is legit.
It's thick. It's old. I'm very, very, very careful with it because it belonged to my grandfather, and obviously it's really old. But I've actually just coincidentally, like I've bookmarked a few things that kind of jumped out at me here. I've skimmed it a lot, like over the years, but I'm really getting into it more, uh, I don't know, intensely, let's say, just because of the times that we're living in. I find that a lot of this truth that is jumping out at me is so much more profound now. So basically, the
Hmm.
book is a compilation with like 400 um, thinkers and professors and reverends and people like that in the Christian
Well,
world at the time, and it has a lot of sort of just timeless truth and things like that. So they're basically it basically just describes earth, heaven, um, the physical and the spiritual connection, and it's really fascinating. So just opening up in the beginning, I'll just read a little bit like the intro here. No subject is of such paramount or absorbing interest to man as that of death and the future of life. If a man die, shall he live again? Is the question, springing from every heart and trembling on every lip. To every home death comes. To every one it is appointed once to die. Does death then end all? Shall we write over our cemeteries, death is in eternal sleep? Thank God we are not left in darkness on this intensely practical and important theme. Light, somewhat dim and struggling, it is true, comes from the fact that all the phenomena of mind are different from those of the perishable body, that our instincts and aspirations are for continued existence. So it's basically, it's about preparing yourself in your mortal life for what comes next, because you don't want
hmm.
your soul to be uh, wasted. I suppose I don't know, I don't know exactly how else to put it, but it's basically it's very it's very wordy. It's a testament to just how dumbed down society has become since the 1880s. You know,
Well, like, not it's not like unnecessarily wordy though,
no,
because it's
it's
really
understandable.
enjoy. It's like every single word is
Absolutely,
just like dripping in meaning
yeah,
and potency that is reflected within the entire text.
yeah.
It's genius.
Life, like basically, there's several sort of chapters or sections, I suppose, like,
Hmm.
and it's very well illustrated. Like the details are really intense. Like, so
Bobby did good.
you've
Welcome.
got sections on,
Yeah, that artwork is that was that title just like life.
yeah. So
Nice. Newfoundland bound work.
simple as
Welcome.
that. Like chapter one, life. got got life,
Drop the hammer.
and it's a compilation of many different authors. But what I find, because it's hard to go through the entire 600-page book in like one sitting or one day to the next. What I tend to do is I read it almost like you would read your Bible, where I sort of skim through and I let all these different poems that are inspired by the Word of God to sort of jump out at me. And there's a lot of illustrations in here of like the ascension of Jesus, Lazarus, Jacob's dreams, like all these really really
Nice.
cool illustrations. um, but I think maybe what I'd like to do is, I mean, I could pick from anything here, but I would like to maybe just read a couple of poems here and just see.
Definitely. Amy, welcome back. Heavy Metal Toilet, welcome. Awesome name.
I'm curious. Okay, where should we start? Let's just start right here. Live and help live, and this is written by Alice Carey,
All right.
1883, circa. Okay, just keep that in mind. Mighty in faith and hope, why art thou sad? Sever the green withes, look up and be glad. See all around thee, below and above, the beautiful, beautiful gifts of God's love. What though our hearts beat with death's sullen waves? What though the green sod is broken with graves? The sweet hopes that never shall fade from their bloom make their dim birth chamber down in the tomb. Parsee or Christian man, bondmen or free, loves and humiliates still are for thee. Some little good every day to achieve, some slighted spirit no longer to grieve. In the tents of the desert, alone on the sea, on the faraway hills with the starry Chaldee, condemned and in prison, dishonored, reviled, God's arm is around thee, and thou art his child. Mine be the lip, ever truthful and bold. Mine be the heart, never careless nor cold. A faith humbly trustful, a life free from blame. All else is unstable as flax in the flame.
Nigga,
That's
rap from 1883, son, circa.
that's like one of like hundreds, maybe thousands of these that are.
Dude, that was absolutely brilliant.
That's just like page 68, just something that jumped out at me. I've bookmarked quite a few here. I could maybe find a couple more that are interesting, or pick out like, see if I can find a nice illustration or something. But this book is really important to me, and I've been really getting back into it because just in my own personal life, my grandfather was a really spiritual guy. He was a Christian man. He was a believer. And I had a profound sort of experience that sort of led me on my own faith journey, where I started taking my faith more seriously, like not immediately, but when I was 18 years old, he passed away from cancer, unfortunately. And he was 63 years old at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, when I was 18, like I thought I was like grown up and like a man, and I realized now, like, no way, dude. Like, not at all.
Right.
Still don't really feel like that all the time. But, you know, I'm realizing just how young I was then and how young he really was at that point too. But from the time I was young, he was always speaking truth into me, and sort of making me aware that there was a spiritual world. And I remember, you know, he used to talk about this book that he owned, and he would say, you know, I want you to have it someday because it's just full of what we would call gravy, I suppose. But I mean, it is what it is. Like, I'll see if I can find something else here. And just speaking on that, I know that a lot of people watching right now, we've all had people that are close to us in our lives that have died or will die. Everybody's going to die. And, you know, it's not something that you necessarily have to fret or worry about because it's just a certainty of life. But what I've been trying to focus on lately is, you know, really just do not give into that despair in this twisted, crazy world. Just turn your attention to God, be faithful, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, find comfort in the things that are timeless. You know,
Definitely. And what was the name of that book called again?
I'll repeat it for people that are just joining. It's it's called The Home Beyond, Views of Heaven, or Views, yeah, The Home Beyond or Views of Heaven. And I actually just
Nice.
recently looked it up on the internet because I was curious, like, where can you find this book, if anywhere, you know? And I think there's like two physical copies in the entire world on Amazon that are available for like 25 bucks. And obviously they're original, so they're like late 1800s. So if anyone wants it, get on it now.
Say again the name of the book.
It's pretty rare. It's called Views of Heaven, The Home Beyond or Views of Heaven, illustrated. So it has like a green and gold engraved cover. You may find it on eBay as well, but I'm not sure. I just looked it up briefly. So it's really something, you know, like I've been going through a bit of a rough time, like the last.
No fucking way.
See anything interesting there?
You mean the next book I'm purchasing? Yes.
If you can get it, then get it, man. Like, I don't really share this with anyone, but I don't know what's going on with my spirit, or just I was called to be more vocal about what I'm getting into right now, because I really do want to share it with people, like with the technology that we have nowadays. And you know, like it's all helpful stuff.
Yeah, dude, this book is brilliant.
Yeah, it's really intense. And I found some more gravy at the back of the book that I might share with you a little later too.
Yes, please ladle it.
Really cool stuff. Because in the back, I'll explain it later. I'll do maybe a couple shorter poems for you right now. But the kind of
All right.
that are discussed, and they're all like Skull,
Order has been
you
placed.
getting it? All right.
Now there's only one copy, son.
You're gonna be miles ahead of me on this pretty soon, I bet. But I've had it sitting around for a while. Like my grandfather passed it down to me. He has a lot of other great like spiritual literature and old Bibles and stuff like that. Um, I'm just starting to get a lot more into it lately. Because
And Amy just bought the other one. They're both gone.
yeah, there's no more like that. I shouldn't.
Pure Living Man,
Come
welcome,
on, I
welcome.
was a
Trainer Bear, your haiku is cultural appropriation. How dare you, white man?
if I was the kind of person that was like, you know, greedy or whatever, I might have already bought both of them for myself and been like, now I have all three that are in the world. But like, whatever, man. This is the only one that no one's getting this one from me until I pass it on to whomever
Mhm.
I'm passing it on to. But it has all these crazy topics, not crazy, but extremely interesting.
Like,
So
very important and not commonly discussed things.
no,
And they discuss these topics in such a deep, profound, and spiritual, but
it,
also relevant manner.
it's almost like short essays that are written by like biblical scholars of the day. So
Hmm.
I could just read some of the titles, even like Christ brings immortality to light, um, the resurrection, the immortal mind. Um, Let me see. Uh,
As you're looking for something, Pure Living Bear, the name of the book is called. Oh, shoot. Where'd it go?
the Home Beyond.
Yeah, that's it. The Home Beyond.
Yeah. So it's basically just all about um, preparing your soul for the afterlife, and it's all just based on biblical truth. Um, like all these different topics, like we do not worship a dead savior, a risen
Hmm.
Christ victorious, the dead glorified through Christ. Christ conquered death for us. And then there's like a whole like few pages or a short little essay on all of these topics from various authors. So it's compiled of like 400 different authors of the time,
Goodness.
you know.
Dude, thank you for sharing this gravy.
I don't
I
even
have
know
a
why I'm
new
doing
book
this.
from the
I'm not really
1800s. I'm so excited.
I'm not really a big like live stream guy, to be honest. Like I used to have like a conspiracy call-in talk show like maybe a year or so, 2 years before I started even watching Owen. And it was not so much focused on the spiritual aspect. It would, be talking about aliens and politics and whatever contemporary news of the day, like left right paradigm bullshit, having political discourse with people. And I'm just so far beyond that. It's like I want to transcend the political and get more into the spiritual, because it's very clear to me now that we're dealing with a spiritual war, even more than political or physical or any of that.
Oh, yeah.
You only have control of like what's up here. And if you can get your head around that and sort of turn your attention to, just focusing on being good and seeing the good in things and not having fear, not just taking all that anger and frustration out on other people. Like we all have issues that we have to overcome, whatever they may be. And life is short, but it's also pretty long. Like you do have an opportunity to sort of change yourself for the better. So I don't know. I haven't read much from the book. I'm just kind of inspired by it. But I'm gonna get back into some of these shorter poems that I've bookmarked here. So so um, this is from the section "We Do Not Worship a Dead Savior," and this is pretty short. Be worthy of death, and so learn to live, that every incarnation of thy soul in other realms and worlds and firmaments shall be more pure and high. That's it.
Nice. Dude, I love that opening line. Like, be worthy of death.
Be worthy of death, because it's coming. No one
Dude,
escapes.
that's intense.
It's cool. It's definitely cool.
Kyle, welcome, welcome.
I'll see if I can find another one. Welcome to the stream, Mr. Smith. We are
See,
discussing
oh,
we're discussing views from heaven. The home beyond, views of heaven. Let me see. Oh, this is a good one. The immortal mind.
ooh,
Why should this immortal mind, enslaved by sense, be thus confined, and never, never rise? Why, thus amused with empty toys, and soothed with visionary joys, forget her native skies? The mind was formed to mount sublime, beyond the narrow bounds of time, to everlasting things, but earthly vapors cloud her sight, and hang with cold oppressive weight upon her drooping wings. The world employs its various snares of hopes and pleasures, pains and cares, and chained to earth I lie. When shall my fettered powers be free, and leave these seats of vanity, and upward learn to fly? Bright scenes of bliss, unclouded skies, invite my soul, oh, could I rise, nor leave a thought below. I'd bid farewell to anxious care, and say to every tempting snare, Heaven calls, and I must go. Heaven calls, and can I yet delay? Can aught on earth engage my stay? Ah, wretched lingering heart, come, Lord, with strength and life and light, assist and guide my upward flight, and bid the world depart.
dude, that was legit.
The Immortal Mind by Anne Steele. That was actually written by a girl. Still pretty good.
Dude. In Pure Living, yes, I completely concur. And Trainer Bear, I also concur that there's going to be I think there's going to be kind of like a mini golden era in the next like couple of years, but it's going to also be tainted by a higher degree of civil unrest. And then after, like in like 2030s, give or take, the breakup of the empire, obviously. But then like once the breakup is kind of solidified for better or worse, like mostly, then specific geographical areas will then start seeing amazing amounts of growth. Like Vox Day was just talking about this. Jack Nada, welcome. With respect to Machiavelli and the history of Florence, he did two like 25-minute videos. It was quite fascinating.
I would say that, like, I used to be something of a futurist, let's say. Like, I used to always be envisioning the future and sort of imagining what things would be like. Like, I was sort of one of few people that was predicting, like, I'm sure Trump is going to win, and I could see there's going to be this civil unrest. I could see that there's going to be sort of a lot of the things that are happening now. But beyond what's happening now, I have no freaking clue. Like, I'm not, like, to be honest, that's why I'm more focused on the spiritual, is because, like, I've been going over news and stuff that's happening in the world, and I was always into conspiracies and all that, and even ancient Hebrew gematria and all kinds of stuff that you can learn about, where you can sort of read into things way too much without really focusing on what's most important at the same time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I can't really make any bold predictions as far as what's going to happen in the physical world, but I'm turning my attention a lot more to, you know, just preparing my soul in a sense for whatever's going to happen. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it's tough because in the physical world you got things to worry about. You got relationships and money and family and, you know, material things that you want to preserve, like this book itself. You know,
Right? But what I find crazy in addition to that, like when you're focusing on developing the spiritual side more, especially a lot with a lot of the Pentecostal types, they start out, at least from my experience, they start out with like desiring this spiritual thing, which is wonderful, great, and they start getting real deep into it, and then they get like off the track where like, oh, I've got to go fight this specific demon and save this person, and I'm a superhero, and like most people who speak in tongues or display very spiritual gifts use them very well, and like, no harm, no foul. It's great. It's used for edification of the body. All great. But then there's like There's always the one, but there's that small group of percentage of people where they just take it over the top and like they almost make a mockery of the spiritual gifts.
I know what you're saying in a sense, and I mean, I don't know. It's like I was never a regular church goer. Like I was brought up going to Catholic school, and I think what I find with a lot of people that I grew up with, by the time you're in high school, if you go from like a Catholic elementary school to a Catholic high school, by the time you're a teenager, you're so consumed with like parties and music and smoking weed and skipping class and not going to the masses. And even when you go to the mass, you kind of see it for what it is. It's just a ritual, stand up, sit down, repeat these words. And you're really missing like the whole truth of what you're there for. I don't know.
Yeah, like when I was in high school, at the church that I grew up in, me and my buddies would just skip the high school service and we'd go mess around in the empty classrooms because like we grew up at the church, so we knew where everything was. Brianna, welcome. Say again?
Can you still see me okay?
Yeah, you were going like this for a little bit, but you are now back, my friend.
No, I've rigged up this little system. I have a cardboard box with a hole in it with the phone charger going down and then up, and then the phone is just like resting just like this. And it's
nice.
It's an old iPhone. It needs to be updated to like iOS 14. And just before I jumped back on the stream, I saw a news article in my Instagram that was like, "Oh, a kid in France burned down an apartment complex trying to download iOS 14 to his iPhone 6." And I'm like,
"Oh my goodness,
that's about to happen to me." But let's hope.
Well, like I would say that specific story is about like 90% fake. 100%. There's a lot more people on your PJ. You're famous. Like, oh, thank you.
They're just like, hey, the iPhone 6 can't keep up with all the tracers and everything that we need to be having you on. So just if you're still running an iPhone 6, this could happen to you. Like that's what I'm kind of reading into it.
Well, you're probably the only person in the world with an iPhone 6. Pure Living Man, Sativa, Bajo Bear. Yes, Indica, Sativa are two types of. Yeah, you're making a joke. I take things too literally.
That's funny though. So yeah, what was I saying before? I was never a regular like church goer. My family never really took me to church. Maybe Christmas and Easter, like a couple years of my life, but not often. And I've sort of taken it upon myself to try to seek out a good Bible-based church, and I've been going to a Baptist church for a few weeks now, I suppose, and I don't know, I was having some personal stuff going on in my life. I am a believer. I do read the Bible on my own. I've watched a lot of sermons almost every night just to sort of get a positive message before I go to sleep. But yeah, like I've been involved with a church group lately that seems to be pretty all right. But just going back to what you were saying, where it's like some people seem to like almost make a mockery of the whole thing, and it kind of turns you off. Like I used to be really into, like Revelation, and I don't know if you remember Pastor John Hagee was on television back in the day. I don't know if he still is, but he used to be reading into news stories and how it relates to Revelation and like prophesying of the end times on like cable TV.
Oh yeah, I remember that guy.
Yeah, and there's a lot of hacks and vipers that are in Christian television. But when I was in high school, like, and I was into David Icke and Alex Jones, I would get just ripped on weed and stay up all night and watch some of that shit and just laugh my ass off. But also there was this little like seed in my heart where I was like, something about this is actually true. You know what I mean? Like, and it's been a long road, like I said, towards taking faith seriously. But here we are. I don't know why I've been called to do this and just share this book with everyone who cares to be watching right now, but I really appreciate it, and it's been interesting. It's been very interesting, and this book too, like it really does, it helps me feel closer to my grandfather, who's, God rest his soul, but it's really fascinating stuff. It's like a 600-page book. There's no way I can go through every single thing today, but you're getting yourself a copy, apparently, and I'm sure you're going to love it. And, yeah, it's just good streaming material, man. Like, I'm not even I'm pretty confident. I'm not a shy guy, but I'm not much of a streamer. I'm not even like officially like verified necessarily. You know what I mean? I have a lot of overlap between like just my real life and the bear world and other stuff where there could be people in this stream right now like, who's this guy? What's this guy talking about? Why is he doing this? I just don't care. You know, like I've never been one for just being anonymous or hiding any part of myself for any reason. I just don't. Yeah, you know, like I have things in my life outside of, you know, the Bears, but I
Mhm.
do, you know, I do respect it. I'm all about it, you know. But anyhow,
One of the many reasons why I enjoy speaking to the Bears so much is because
they
the more woke I got,
they get it.
the
Simple as
the
that.
less people want to talk to me. And then all of a sudden, like 2 years ago, I discovered this community that's like, wait, there's other people like me? No way.
I don't.
And so it's just been really exciting to like become like a part of the community, I guess, and meet new little online friends. And then as Bartaria shapes out more and more, a lot of these online friendships, Instagram friendships,
They
are
become
gonna become like real world
a
friendships, and
lot
it's
more real.
gonna be really cool.
I've been having some deep conversations with people that I met through this community, and it's pretty cool. That's really the most valuable thing for me, you know. And even like I said, I do like to step back from the politics once in a while. I do like to step back from all the, you know, bickering and whatever else happens to be the issue of the day. But this stuff right here is timeless, you know. And I know that the
Yes.
need it for sure. But yeah, I guess that's enough about me for a minute. I'm gonna get back into a couple short poems here. I have maybe 3 or 4 that I've bookmarked just before I jumped on here, and
All right.
let's just get into it, man. No particular order, um, but yeah, it's all just about focusing your attention on on God, the assurance of heaven, and just the spirit world itself. So let's get into it. This is a short one. So, thou hast immortality in mind, hast grounds that will not let thee doubt it. The strongest ground herein I find, that we could never do without it. That's it.
It's short and sweet,
Short and sweet.
but
A lot of them are really like,
Tahoe Bear was asking about like he's like, oh, I want to ask a question about waking up, but I don't know how to articulate enough. And then Bell Reaver was like, ask in Spanish, Bajo. And that was like right as you started reading it, I was dying.
I'm honestly, I'm not paying too much attention to the chat. There's a lot going on there, but
Hmm.
we'll see if we can get into it and address some of that.
War Bear, welcome.
Let me see. Let me see. Yeah, there's just so much in here, man. 1884, just keep in mind. 1884, 85. So like over 100 years ago. Let's see. Okay, let me just show. Maybe I'll just show you something right here. I know it's going to be reversed, but that says heaven.
Dope.
So you,
Dude, that
like,
artwork is very intricate.
yeah, the detail and like you know, I'm something of an artist myself, and I went to school for architecture, and I'm really into like all that intricate sort of mosaic designs and stuff like that. Like, there's just so much care that went into every detail of this book, and even just almost anything back in those days. Like, people had real skill. They took pride in what they did. It was not digitally created. Like, there's a lot of value. If you hate God, if you don't believe any of that, you have to respect this book. You have to, like, you're gonna look at it and be like, this book was inspired by something beyond like what we even know now. You know, and
I feel like
like
even the dumbest SJW just picking up that book for at least a second would just be like, whoa.
yeah, yeah.
Alaire Bear, welcome.
I keep it very close to my heart. Like, even like the place that I'm in my life right now, like it's not about video games. It's not about movies. It's not about wasting time with any of that sort of childish stuff. I'm really just trying to, I don't know, just read and focus as much as I can on just just staying like spiritually grounded, you know, because it's very easy to get sort of tossed around with all the stuff going on, you know, because it's out.
Yeah,
It makes you it just it makes you upset when you see what's happening. You know what I mean? And there's
I. So I'm going to show you one of my favorite books that I have. It's not in the best condition because it's very old, but this is a Bible,
ooh,
and this wood is from an olive tree, like the branch of an olive tree
wow,
from Jerusalem.
cool. That looks
So like it's
oh
definitely not in the best condition.
yeah, this book is holding up about the same. it's I really try to be super careful with it, but it, it's really cool. Let me see. Let me see. What else do we have? Hmm.
Live and love and bear, yeah. Saying the truth will set you free, but it'll piss you off first.
True.
Fact.
Like I was saying, like I used to do a stream on Twitch that was like sort of anonymous, and I did it with a couple friends of mine. And I'm not really like a good, I'm not very technical, so it was a friend of mine who set it up, and like we had a phone number, like a 1-800 number that you could call in. And a lot of times people would just call in and prank us with nonsense, but sometimes we get really interesting callers talking about topics and things like just whatever. But it was never so much spiritual as much as it was just like, you know, what do you think about reptilians, or what do you think about, you know, do you think there is a god, or like it was very base level stuff, but some of it was cool.
According to Project Blue Book, which is your favorite type of alien?
Yeah, like all that stuff. Well, you can read into it forever, but it's not going to save your soul. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Uh, yeah, like I don't know. We haven't done it for a while, but I was just saying like that was back in 2018 or so, and around the time that I discovered Owen and started watching him more frequently, I was like, this is like the same stuff that I was talking about like last year or 2 years ago. I'd be like, it was comforting in a way, but it kind of pissed me off too in a way. I was like, oh man, this guy's just crushing like in such a so doing so much better than I ever could on all this stuff, and he does it every day and never stops. And I was
Mhm.
just like,
But to be fair, like there was a season in my life where like I was trying to like make as much content as him, and I just didn't have the capability. And I was like, "Oh, you're a failure. You're horrible. Like you suck." And then I was like, "Oh, wait. He has thousands of people that have been following him for years that are consistently sending him tons of gravy.
yeah, exactly.
I probably shouldn't feel so bad."
It's not a one man show exactly. I mean, it's very impressive what he's able to do,
Oh yeah.
lead that charge of truth. And there's still going to be a lot of things you may not agree with, obviously, or whatever. But
Hmm.
just the passion that he has for it is kind of contagious. You know what I mean? And I'm not the most
Completely.
religious like follower of Owen, obviously. Like I got stuff to do, and you know I
Yep.
live, but I love having these talks, you know. And I'm not a shy person. I like we don't know each other, and that's fine because we can relate on a lot, I'm sure. But
Yeah, definitely. We both have glorious beards and long hair.
exactly, yeah, that's one thing. That's one thing. But yeah, it's just weird. Like I said, I don't know why I'm doing this exactly right now, but I just felt compelled to get out there and share some of what I was reading just tonight. I'm, you know, I'm of sober mind. I used to be a big time weed smoker. Like every 15 minutes, I'd be hitting the bong, and I would, you know, sort of get a little bit bored and go play a couple games of pool and have a few beers every couple nights or a little too often. But now I'm no, no, hey, no judgment here. I mean,
No, I was just making a joke.
Do it. I don't care. It's not like that, but it's just like I've recently supplemented some of my addictions with like an addiction to technology and reading, let's say, you know, which is not a bad thing. Not that you can't do those things while smoking weed, but I just have.
Ooh, this sounds interesting. Bajo Bear's asking, ever heard of the three levels of minds? Uh, lizard, caveman, and then human.
I have heard of that, and actually that brings that. I'm telling you, there's some force going on here, because that reminds me what I was gonna say. I've been looking through some old episodes. We only saved like 4 or 5 of those episodes from the conspiracy show that we did. And towards the very end of one of those episodes, we had a caller from New York, and he was asking like, "Oh, what's your opinion on communism?" And we're like, we're not about that, like don't really like it. And basically, this was 2018, and I went on some little like 10-minute rant about how America was most likely to be destroyed from within. That this push for communism would be the downfall of America, and that Trump would be blamed for some sort of economic collapse. And then when it all comes down and everyone's demoralized, you're probably going to see a fake alien invasion to unite the whole world. And I don't know who on here may be aware or not, but there's been some videos that came out recently in California of like some big alien craft. I think
Right.
it was on like Sam Tripoli had it on his Instagram or whatever. And I'm just like, I'm so at this point right now, I'm so not phased by this alien shit. I have so much other stuff
Right.
in my life, and I've turned so much of my focus towards the spiritual and not just like, running and chasing every carrot and stick, like as far as conspiracies and news, you know what I mean? Where it's just
Hmm.
like, you know what? I'm gonna sit my ass down and read this book from 1885. How about that?
The
Like
past is the
not.
future, bro.
Yeah, the past is the future. And before I forget, I'm gonna show you uh, one of the titles that is available for purchase at the back of this book, because it lists a bunch of other ones. And
Ooh.
they're not all totally related. Like there's one about like an architecture, agriculture like dictionary, and like a basically like a primer for how to grow and sustain and all that kind of stuff. And I'll save the other one for last because it's really really.
All right.
But let me see. Let me see. Maybe we can do another poem here or something. Okay, let's see. I feel like I want to do the best ones, but I don't know what the best ones are yet. you know?
Well, dude, we'll
That,
we'll definitely be going through these, like, oh, especially once I get my copy.
once you get
I'll
it,
be going through this
you're
in depth.
you're gonna really, like I said, I think you're probably gonna be deeper into it than I even am. But this is my first time really sharing this with anybody, to be honest, and
Hmm.
and it's really really cool, man. And I'm only reading like the poems that are in between like these long wordy essays. You know what I mean? So you're not
Hmm.
really getting the
The full
full.
gravy.
No,
You're just sprinkling it right
not
now.
even close. Just little bit of dust where I can do in this short time. Let's see. Let's see. This is okay. This is a good one. This is a good one. Angelic sympathy needed.
Ooh.
Why come not spirits from the realms of glory to visit the earth as in days of old, the times of ancient writ and sacred story? Is heaven more distant, or has earth grown cold? Oft have I gazed when sunset clouds receding waved like rich banners of a host gone by, to catch the gleam of some white pinion speeding along the confines of the glowing sky. And oft when midnight stars in distant chillness were calmly burning, listened late and long, but nature's pulse beat on in solemn stillness, bearing no echo of the seraph's song. To Bethlehem's air was their last anthem.
Oh, dude, at the very end, you're breaking up. Did your phone die again, Dan? Or did we just have a bad connection? You do have a very serious reading face. It's like, let me read some wisdom now. And all the people are like, oh, give us wisdom, please. And you're just like, I'm ladling. Oh, you're back.
Yeah, I'm back. My iPhone 6 is about to light on fire. I think that's the problem.
Yeah, we got some frozen gravy.
Dude, the phone is so hot. It just cut off. I'm sorry about that, folks.
It cut off right after us, the line that mentioned Psalm.
Um, which was that? Let me see. The line about which?
About Psalm, I believe.
Okay, let me see. It's not too long. Maybe I could just do the whole thing again. Because
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like I have no idea. I've only read this like twice in my life. So bear with me. I apologize, everybody.
No, dude, no worries. Start from the beginning.
Okay, and it'll help me actually refresh and sort of see the meaning of it rather than just reading it like some Catholic or something. Just kidding. Okay. Why not come spirits from the realms of glory to visit the earth as in days of old, the times of ancient writ and sacred story? Is heaven more distant, or has earth grown cold? Often I have gazed when sunset clouds, receding, waved like rich banners of a host gone by, to catch a gleam of some white pinion speeding along the confines of the glowing sky. And oft when midnight stars in distant chillness were calmly burning, listened fate late and long. But nature's pulse beat on in solemn stillness, bearing no echo of the seraph's song. To Bethlehem's air was their last anthem given, when other stars before the one grew dim. Was their last presence known in Peter's prison, or where exulting martyrs raised their hymn? And are they all within the veil departed? There gleams no wing along the Empyrean now, and many a tear from human eyes have started, since angel touch has calmed a mortal brow. So this one is basically, I think it's basically just about angels and sort of how you always have some sort of spiritual guide should you call on them.
Hmm.
There's another section as you get closer towards the heaven chapter where it's a lot more about how there are millions, like like innumerable spiritual entities at work beyond the physical world, and that's sort of like what the book comes towards at the end, where it's like there's life, and then um, you have a section basically that breaks down a lot of different stories in the Bible, and then uh, you have this right here, like unseen companions. So speaking about just the connection that we have with ancestors and all things like that, you know.
Hmm.
So it's pretty profound, because my grandfather passed away on Halloween, actually, or I believe
Whoa.
the day after Halloween. So every year when fall comes and it sort of leads up to that time, I sort of think about this stuff a lot more because there's so many profound things that happen in my life during that time and in every like years since, where it's it's just too profound and coincidental to just be coincidence or like, oh well, I guess all that just happened for no reason. It's like no, like I've been led to this understanding that like there is a world beyond the physical, and this book is just what it's all about, you know.
Hmm.
And like it's really really just unreal, you know. It's really cool stuff. I'll see. I mean, I feel like I've been on for a while. Really, the time is flying by. But
Yeah, dude, like everything you're saying that was legit. We love the poems. Like the whole stream is just loving it and like laughing at the jokes. Like good vibes, good vibes.
thank you, everybody. It's actually 11 people in here. That's like a nice small little crowd.
Yeah.
See, there's things in here that I'm opening up to now where like I haven't even seen before, like the recognition of friends in heaven, a summary of reasons for recognition. A lot of it is like I said, it's not just the poems. Like there's these long essays, and then the poem like is almost usually at the end by the same author, and it's sort of just like the poem is more of an artistic sort of summary of the concept. So let's
Ooh.
see, you know, the rec.
So each poem's gonna be like 1,000 times better if you just read the article.
Exactly.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
and
This is
there's
wonderful.
illustrations of every author too. So like this gentleman right here, you
Brilliant.
know, William.
Yeah, Courage Bear, my first thoughts exactly. Courage Bear is saying, recognizing friends in heaven. I want to read it. Yes, I concur. And once the book arrives between September 23rd and October 8th, I will read that and I will be able to ladle some gravy.
Yeah, man, this is really cool. It's really cool stuff, man. So this is written by William Cullen Bryant. I don't think he's related to Kobe, but
Kobe.
I don't think he's related. Just he looks like freaking Da Vinci. But anyway, um, yeah, the recognition of friends. So at the end of this section, there's a little poem here. I have not read this one yet, so this is going to be a bit of a surprise to me too. Isolation and future union. So
Ooh.
I know a lot of people. I don't know. Maybe different people from different denominations. I don't know if they have different ideas about meeting, being reunited with anyone in heaven in any sense.
Spouses specifically is a big question with a lot of believers.
This is what this guy has to say about it. I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm not
I'm about it. Let's hear it.
here like I wrote the book. Like I don't know, dude. You know. So this is the little summary here. Isolation and future union. We walk alone through all life's various ways, through light and darkness, sorrow, joy, and change, and greeting each to each through passing days. Still we are strange. We hold our dear ones with a firm, strong grasp. We hear their voices, look into their eyes. And yet betwixt us, in that clinging clasp, a distance lies. We cannot know their hearts, however we may mingle thought, aspiration, hope, and prayer. We cannot reach them, and in vain essay to enter there. Still in each heart of hearts a hidden deep lies, never fathomed by its dearest best. With closest care our purest thoughts we keep, and tenderest. But blessed thought, we shall not always so, in darkness and in sadness, walk alone. There comes a glorious day when we shall know as we are known.
Ooh, good finish.
Yeah,
Dang.
yeah, yeah. It's crazy, man.
Train a bit. And Pure Living, man, you can't smile this, or you can't jar this smile.
It's crazy stuff, man. Like I don't know. What do you guys think in the chat here? Because I haven't been paying too close attention, if I'm being honest, to what you guys are saying. But I hope you're enjoying this.
All right, so everybody's absolutely loving it. But before we all tell Dan how much we love it, Instagram's going to kick us off in 13 seconds. So I will be right back for the next half of the stream, guys. See you soon.
All right.